would help. Like, that's not a good thing to get into. How was Outer Worlds 2? I don't want to spoil myself since I liked the first one. I actually quite liked it. I thought it was a really fun game. I think that game is really... I think they've improved on, like, a lot of stuff that the first game didn't have. I think it's really... It's very Fallout New Vegas-y, but it's also very Mass Effect-y. So it doesn't have gigantic, crazy big open worlds, but it has really substantially sized ones. I suppose cocaine is vegan-friendly? I guess so. These are all the titles you won through hard work. Don't minimize that! I'm the crack VTuber, the poop VTuber, and the... Why poop VTuber? And the Mpreg VTuber. Cool. If you do drugs, you go to hell before you die. Unironically, though. Unironically. I don't know. I've met quite a few people that are not doing so hot. Omegaverse VTuber? I guess so a little bit, yeah. I don't know about the last one, and the Fujoshi. I don't know about the Fujoshi part either. Like, stop stealing Barry's valor. Can I post an imager vid? I swear it's not a Rickroll. Well, it could be a lot worse things than a Rickroll. What is it? Is also the Cannibal Hot Sauce VTuber. There's a lot of stuff going on. What are some other really good titles for different VTubers? Don't actually do any illicit substance, guys. Drink water. Drink water. Go outside a little bit. You'll feel a lot better. This is important. Also, thank you so much, Jack, for the 100 bits. Ghosty told us you gave her all the yaoi she has. It's okay. Be honest now. It's for... Wait. Alright, you know what? VTuber baggage is coming back, baby. VTuber baggage is coming back soon. There's so many things crack can be laced with. Whoa, not worth it? Yeah. The thing is, you could try to get crack, and then you could end up with, like, some other, like, substance, like... Anyway, we'll just so you can send Ghosty more yaoi. What was the next one supposed to be? Froggy, Ghosty, and Iron Mouse? Ghosty's gonna win. Like, Ghosty wins every time. It's like the returning champ to, like, wrestling that, like, holds the belt over her head each time and goes like, yeah, baby, we're coming in here! Let's go! I mean, Froggy might at least have a chance. That's fair. It's possible. Test your products, kids. Be careful. Don't buy crack. Don't test your crack. Just don't buy crack. I need you to do this. Look at yourself in the mirror each day and go, like, you're gonna feel bad and you're gonna feel weird, but it's gonna be okay. I care about you. I care about you because I am you. And all those little things that you've experienced that made you feel hurt were hard, but you don't need crack. You don't need crack. You needed yourself to be a little bit stronger in all those times when you were a child and no one was there for you to be an adult. You're gonna be okay. You don't need crack. And then, just go chill. Alright. We have Juniper, Lena, and Lucy on the list of people for VTuber baggage. We have quite a few people on the list for VTuber baggage. I was also gonna even ask, like, just, like, a bunch of, like, I was gonna try to ask, like, people for very, like, specific types of, like, VTuber baggage, too. I think, like, they used to have themes, but now it's kind of just become, like, they ask me at random times. And I go, cool. And then we eventually do it 7 months later. Unfortunately, I have not have enough watching a mouse to guess whether or not she'd be able to compete with Froggy and Ghosty. I think Froggy's really gonna win. I got this vision suddenly. Froggy's probably gonna win. I think it's gonna be Froggy. I would live for Ghosty and Mouse together? I mean, they said that they wanted to be on it, both of them. Like, at the same time, I mean. Like, they were in chat talking about this. Or Ghosty was on stream screaming about stuff. And eating, like, cheese ramen. And Froggy was talking about pissing in a cup. Froggy's probably gonna win. Gingy has an unfair advantage. Gingy would win. No, wait a second. Yeah, never mind. Gingy would win. Gingy would win VTuber baggage. Gingy will win every VTuber baggage that Gingy gets on. Gingy has a crazy life. Gingy had people that raised him similar to the people that raised me. Like, we aren't related. They just happen to also have, like, a mom that was into a spiritual self-help cult, and I think they've also been stabbed, like, 4 times. He's very happy. I don't know how he did it. Like, he just seems happy. How do you get stabbed 4 times and you're just Gingy? It makes no sense. Okay, let's keep going. This one's probably going to be a little bit of a... For everyone that's having a good time, this is probably just going to destroy all of it and make us think that we shouldn't go outside. You're still streaming? I will be for the next probably hour.
We're back once again, exploring the disturbing side.
Sorry, I don't know why it does that now.
It was Thursday, June 12th, 2025. In the late evening in the city of Torun, Poland, a young woman was walking home from work, speaking with her long-distance boyfriend on the phone as she did every night. It was a quiet routine, one that helped them feel close despite the distance between them. Then...
Trigger warning, I don't know what this YouTuber talks about. I don't know how bad it gets. It could be pretty bad. Like, I know what chilling scares we generally have, and is this Lazy Masquerade? This is The Void. I know with, like, most YouTubers and stuff, like, we get a, like, Nexpo's not going to talk about certain stuff, Chilling Scares isn't going to talk about certain stuff, Nukes is never going to talk about certain stuff, it's all wholesome, it's all okay. Just gonna let you know, this lady could die really quick, so...
Without warning, she screamed. The call disconnected.
Okay, yes.
He tried to ring her again, but there was no answer. He sent messages that went unread, and soon her phone appeared to be off entirely. Sitting thousands of miles away,
Sounds
he had no
exactly
way to
like
reach
Lazy
local
Masquerade.
authorities and no friends nearby to call for help. So, he turned to the one place where strangers often listen. He opened Reddit.
The tow run incident. This sounds exactly like Lazy Masquerade. Is this AI?
Something happened to my girlfriend 30 minutes ago walking home from work. If anyone is in Torun and has the ability to get in contact with law enforcement, please reach out. We were talking on the phone as we usually do when she was walking home from work.
You guys gotta be real though. Every time you need an actual answer for something, you type in like name of question and Reddit. Just like, can I take this medication and also this one? Reddit. Is it okay to like mix this type of paint with this other type of paint? Reddit. Is it okay to go out at 3 a.m. and get like hamburgers, or is that like, you know, like a really big like Reddit? Any question you have, Reddit. You want to see like what a human has to say. You don't want it to just be something that goes into the void. Reddit. Just like, I want to like start making stickers. Reddit. Like, come on, let's be real with ourselves. We owe a lot to Reddit, even if Reddit as an entity is kind of cringed sometimes. Hamburger? Hamburger. It does sound exactly like Lazy Masquerade. Cats are able to knock on the door at this point. That's scary.
Work. It's only a few kilometers away from her house, and she started screaming and yelling, and the call dropped, and her phone...
One other thing, the cats figured out how to unplug the computer, and the plug is out there, so if their stream randomly goes off, sorry, the cats unplugged the computer because they're angry at me for not playing with them enough today, but I played with them quite a bit, but they've just been little hellions.
...is off. I've contacted everyone I know near her that I could, but it's late there right now. I've called the US Embassy, been transferred to local departments, and no local PD is picking up.
I've been there, buddy.
I don't know what else to do. I'm in the US currently. If anyone can assist, please comment and DM, and I will provide names and last locations.
Been there, buddy.
The post went up at around 1 in the morning, local time. Most people in Poland were asleep. The subreddit was quiet, and aside from a few users who happened to be online, almost no one noticed it. And it stayed that way for hours.
Is it the cat or BIOS?
When
We got a
morning
lot of
came,
problems around
new
here.
users scrolling through the subreddit began to see it sitting near the top of the page.
You use Reddit
At
too
the
as
same
well?
time, local Polish news outlets started reporting what had happened that evening in Torun. Late that night, in Glacier Park, on Jakubski Przedmieście Street, a 24-year-old woman named Klaudia Karkowska was attacked while walking home from work. It was after 1 in the morning when a man nearby heard her screams through his window. He called the police, then ran outside to help. His quick reaction scared the attacker off before he could finish what he started. Within the hour, officers were searching the city. They eventually found a 19-year-old man trying to run and took him into custody. He turned out to be from Venezuela and had only been in Poland a few months.
Oh no.
Reports say he was drunk when he was arrested and that he refused to answer any of the investigators' questions. Claudia was taken to hospital in critical condition. She'd been stabbed several times and left barely alive. Early reports couldn't even agree on what weapon was used. Some said a knife, and others claimed it was a screwdriver. And one man, who claimed he saw what happened, gave a description that was almost impossible to process.
Oh my gosh.
He ran up, stabbed her twice in the eyes with a screwdriver,
The
gouged
eyes?
out her eyes, and the screwdriver reached her brain. If she survives, she'll probably be a vegetable for the rest of her life. A dozen or so blows to the neck, a dozen or so punches to the stomach. He was scared off when the girl was halfway undressed. The man
What the hell is wrong with people? Okay, so this is way worse than I thought. How do we not know about this? This feels like it should be like a story like everyone's talking about constantly. Well, you heard a thumping noise out your window. It sounded like footsteps. I looked outside, and staring at me was a cat. 2 of them were playing on my porch. That's cute. That's much cuter than what happened here. This has to be AI? Yeah, but like, this is a very evil person. That man is pure evil? Yeah, I hope he was executed. She didn't deserve that? I don't think anyone deserves that. I don't think even if people are like truly evil. I hope this guy's executed, though.
Man who attacked her was identified as Yomikurt RS, 19 years old, also living in Torun. He was kept in custody while investigators collected evidence. Court documents later showed he faced life in prison.
What?
Doctors fought to save Claudia for nearly 2 weeks before she died from her injuries.
Oh my god!
The prosecutor's office confirmed her death and said an autopsy would determine if the charges would be changed from attempted murder to murder. In the days that followed, Torun reacted. Protests began in the city
doesn't have a death penalty? Well, they should make one. Life in prison is a lot still. They should make a death penalty for this specific guy, though. Like, if someone saw him murder a lady... Sorry, life in prison is a lot. Okay, Grimmi, yeah, that's fair. Okay. Alright, sorry, okay. Grimmi, okay, sorry. Death penalty, bad? They literally... I don't know, they gouged out this woman's eyes. They gouged out this woman's eyes and tried to murder her, and someone saw them, and they're a random person passing by. Okay. Anyway. I don't know. They should, okay, I'm just saying, they should do like the Japanese style of execution. Very few people get the death penalty, but when they earn it, they get the death penalty. And what they do is that they never, ever, ever tell you when you're going to be executed. Ever. Also, sorry, if you post the link, I'll stop you. But, so what they do is they can hold you for a week or they can hold you for like years. And then one day they just bring you out and kill you. That is an ideal death penalty when someone is truly cruel or evil because they suffer for their entire life. So, anyway, that's what I say. But anyways, they should be executed, but in that fashion so they feel fear and anxiety and suffering every moment of their life.
Toward Glacier Park, where the attack had happened. Groups carried signs, chanted slogans, and
that's
shouted
true. They
at
could give it
police.
to like people that don't deserve
Some called it a
the
tragedy.
death penalty.
Others used it as fuel for anti-immigrant anger.
It's because the only way to ensure innocent person isn't executed ever. Yeah, that's very true. They just ruin it for everyone, these like psychopathic monsters that should be tortured. Confined for life could be worse than death? I don't know. This guy was evil. Like, it sounds like, I don't know. I don't know. I wonder how bad Polish prisons are. I don't know either. But, like, with the death penalty stuff, it's true that they've often executed people that haven't done a specific crime, yeah. But I really wish they could execute this guy specifically. Sorry, I know it's very intense. But this guy specifically.
On Reddit, the tone of the thread changed completely. It was no longer confusion or advice, but silence. People posted links to the articles, realizing that the man's post from that night was genuine, and expressed their condolences.
Oh no.
It really had been a cry for help. He'd written it as his girlfriend was being attacked, hoping that someone, or anyone, might see it in time. But no one did.
Okay, what about... Like, will you at least agree the boyfriend should be allowed to physically blind that man with a screwdriver if he so feels it's, you know, appropriate? I think that that's like a good compromise. The point of punishment shouldn't be to maximize the misery. I think it should be if someone does something truly evil that completely takes out another person in a really traumatic way, where they are just trying to live their life in a calm and positive way. I don't know. I believe that suffering should come to people that do stuff like that, but I understand if people don't agree with that. I used to be very against that type of thing. That's a slippery slope, Grimmi? It's a slippery slope, but also... I used to be very much like no death penalty ever. Like, people should be reformed, everyone can change. I think when it comes to incredible amounts of evil, nah. It really just depends. If someone is like a violent psychopath that seems to show no remorse, besides that they get caught, nah. Nah, there are some things that are beyond correction, exactly. An eye for an eye? Yeah, I guess this is very much an eye for an eye. Reform isn't an option at all, for sure. Yeah, some people just are psychopaths. Like, it must suck to be, like, someone that has, like, a psychopathic child, too. Like, I can't imagine how their poor parents felt. Like, we're seeing more and more cases where a lot of, like, psychopathic children are now attacking and murdering their parents, too. It's really rough. Psychopath doesn't equal ever did anything bad upbringing, and education has more weight to it, but it's definitely harder. Depends. Some psychopathic children and some psychopathic, like, stuff, like, does just end up, like, they attack people. Like, it's not, like, something where it's, like, a mental illness where, like, people are just put in a bad way and can hurt people. Some people just do not have an understanding of how not to harm others, and it's really rough, so. That's pretty much it. I used to feel like everyone was, like, probably a good person deep down, but no, there's some crazy people. It's fine if you treat the severity of the things you talk about with great deal of seriousness and understanding. I try to. I don't know. I really do feel bad because, I've talked about this a lot, but maybe not everyone here knows about it. I feel like if people get set on the wrong path, they can do incredibly violent or crazy things. And it's not the person's responsibility to, like, do everything perfectly, but it is the person's responsibility to not harm others in an extent where they're going to lose their life or suffer immensely. So, one of the things was, my mom got involved in a lot of cults that were very anti-medication, but then she also developed schizophrenia later in her life. So, she refused to take medication for quite some time, and she was becoming so violent, she was punching holes in walls, and she was attacking people, and she was throwing chairs at walls, and she was generally not having a good time. I think even though she had that upbringing, she really owed it to the people around her to stay on her medication and not try to physically harm us. Like, that's pretty much it. Like, I think that you kind of owe society, I guess, the dignity of not attacking them and not making the stuff that you go through something that you're going to inflict on other people around you. And that's pretty much it. You can either agree with me on that or disagree, but I think that's just how I see it based on my experiences. I still feel very bad for her because she didn't really have a, I guess, easy life. She had a really hard time. And then she got involved in a cult that put her in a really bad path and a really bad direction. But that doesn't give her the, that doesn't give her the justification to murder me or one of my other family members. And that's pretty much it. I don't know. I don't want to be a senator.
Did.
I don't want to have any power. I don't want to think about these things on a level that I would have to. Anyway, it's all good. But that's how I feel.
Back in July of 2014,
nothing.
a Redditor asked former cult members or friends of cult members of Reddit, what is your creepiest, scariest, or most disturbing story? And is that what made you leave?
That's very topical. That's extremely topical. I don't want to be in office, no. Do you ever feel like society is a machine that likes attacking people but hates being attacked? Pre-watched? I wish. I don't know what's gonna happen in this one. I haven't watched the Void stuff before, so it might be a little bit more intense. What was I gonna say, though? That distracted me. I'm trying to think of, like, the worst thing that I saw in, like, cult stuff. Probably nothing like that intense. I think the worst thing I saw with cults and stuff, because I didn't, like, leave, like, where I was, like, just like, okay, it's done. I'm out of here. Like, my parent had to develop an illness. But I think the thing that was probably most intense, and I didn't realize this until way after, was that I guess it was just the manipulation, and they also did things that were totally insane. There were different programs people would do. You were in a cult? Yes, I was in several. There were several programs people would do where essentially people would have to pay them money to go and do a program for them. They were called programs where you were supposed to learn and stuff. And they would provide you with a bunk, and they would provide you with food. And then from that point, you were doing labor for them. You were doing labor for them every single day, usually very hard labor. Like, some people had to, like, work in fields all day and stuff, and they were being charged for the opportunity to go work in a field and sleep in, like, a bunk around, like, 30 other people. They didn't even have, like, individual rooms. It was crazy. An internship, it was a paid internship where you had to pay the people there. You had to pay the people there. And there were some like, okay, we're going to teach you how to cook, but you're going to pay us and you're going to sleep in a bunk. Okay, you're going to teach you how to garden, but you're going to pay us and you're going to sleep in a bunk. Okay, we're going to teach you how to do accounting, but you're going to pay us and you're going to sleep in a bunk. So yeah, they were reverse jobs. No one was being paid. And everyone was just going like, yeah, look, you're helping with this. This is wonderful. And like, the thing is, like, if they had just been honest and gone like, we don't have a lot of money. We'll give you like $200 a week and like your own room. It'd be like, well, that's pretty rough, but I guess people getting back on their feet, it helps. No, none of that. You're gonna pay us and you're gonna do all the work. That was crazy. I cannot for a second believe that was something that they actually like tried to instill in other people. Sense of community, sense of unity. Yeah, that was nuts. What about the one where they tried to teach you to... One cult did say that you could turn into a snake if you went to one of their programs, and I slept in and I didn't go to it, and I was really excited about it, so I was sad. This was a different cult. My mom was a part of a bunch of them. And then that cult invited someone that said if you give 10% of your income tithing, you will always have more money. They invited someone to talk on this, and they invited someone there. They paid her to talk about how if you gave your source of spiritual fulfillment 10% of your income regularly, you would get more money. And that's nuts. Sounds like Mormons. It wasn't Mormons, but it was this lady she sounded Southern like this, and she talked about it for a good hour. And the thing is, people that were going to that church that didn't really have money weren't going to have more money by tithing 10%. 10% of your income sounds like church in the 1800s? Yeah. Prosperity gospel BS? Yes. That was also extremely manipulative and weird. How did you end up in so many cults? My mom went to a bunch of different cults and never really fit into any of them, so she kept trying. There was another cult where the person was just incredibly narcissistic, and every sermon would just be him, like, talking about someone that pissed him off that week, and it was insane. It was insane because, like, they would go to church, and sometimes it would be the people from the church, and it would just be like, dude, what is going on? What is going on with you? Yeah, also there was a cult. It wasn't like the followers of the Bible. Like, the person that, like, owned the church, like, had a gigantic house from that one. Like, they lived like a rock star. You had to pay $5,000 to go to their, like, retreats for each person. They made a ton of cash. But that was what was it? So, like, the thing is, they talk about how, like, everyone was making them angry. Yeah, they were venting in the group chat, essentially. But, like, they were like an adult man that was in charge of a church. His wife was really nice, though. She was awesome. And then what was the other cult? There was the raw food cult, too. There was another interesting one. Oh, there was the guy that pretended that he could channel people by changing his voice and going, hello there, I am Thaddeus. I am from the universe itself. I am here to tell you about all of the things that you don't understand. Like, he was just an improv actor that knew how to change his voice slightly. And as someone that could change their voice slightly, when I went to that one, even I was just like, okay, yeah, this isn't real. That was before they developed that illness even. Like, I was just like, okay, this guy's not real. This is weird. Grimmi, you do that? Yeah, exactly. So I saw through him very quickly. But what he did was he charged everyone $40. $40. And this was a long time ago. He charged everyone $40 to sit in a room, and then it was like church, but you just had to pay him $40. He talked and went like, hello there, everyone. It is lovely to see you all you beautiful people. I am from the nebula. My name is Thaddeus. And I am powerful, and I am great, and I am here to see all of you powerful and great people experiencing your lives. Thank you for the stretch, posture check, and hydrate. Sparrow Symphony. I needed this, and you knew so, because we are connected on a deep astral level. That's pretty cheap. All he did was make voices and get really racist. If it lasted 2 hours, that's not bad. Really racist. It was a big giant group of people, probably like at least like 30. At least 30 people. 30 people. $40 is a lot cheaper than 10%. Well, he did this weekly. He did this weekly or twice weekly, so you could end up paying a lot if you needed to go see him a lot for whatever reason. But yeah, he was from India. Everyone knew he was from India. He told people he was from India, and he pretended that he could channel a Native American person. And then what he would do is, as that Native American person, He would go around the room, and then he would ask people if they had any questions or quandaries or anything that they needed help with. This is not a joke. And then he would do the most manipulative thing in the entire world, but these guys also kind of deserved it. And they'd bring up the things that they had been struggling with. And then he would just hype them up on whatever they were talking about. One of them, she was like, yeah, my car was expensive. And he was like, I think you deserve a new car. And I see the universe getting you one very soon. I'm not joking. This is what he'd do for everyone in the entire house that he, like, invited people over to. This was his job. This was his job. Did he do crack? He did something a little bit worse. I should start a cult for the money, because it seems like white women will believe anything. He had like 12 really attractive white women that just lived in his house doing his bidding, treating him like a god. Yeah, he wasn't LARPing as one also. He just said he was from India, told everyone, and then he would channel a Native American in his words. So, he also was not channeling a Native American because he was referring to, like, people and just going like, I see you have squaw energy or some sort of squaw bloodline. You have squaw in your bloodline. But, like, that's, like, not a term that people used unless they were, like, conquerors of, like, Native Americans and, like, really, like, messed up to them. So that was super weird. And everyone was, like, totally buying it because no one really understood anything about Native Americans. They were all just people looking for people to reassure them in a more spiritual way because their family probably told them, like, sweetie, you don't need a new car. You just, oh my God, you shouldn't have crashed it. I can't believe this. You gotta be more careful. So they went over to him to heal their egos. And it was crazy. It sounds like an Always Sunny episode. This was an Always Sunny character. It was nuts. Like, the thing is, I remember, like, someone came in there and he was like, I remember you told me. I remember you told me that your friends were upset that you rode the elephant when you were in India. Well, let me tell you, the elephant allowed you to. They would not allow someone to ride the elephant. They would not do that. They let you. They could leave at any point. They are a strong creature. And it was like, you're just gassing all these guys up for decisions that maybe they could feel a little bit of guilt about if their friends aren't happy with them. It's fine. What are you doing? Anyways. That guy was crazy. One thing I remember very vividly was that he had a statue of that thief guy from Conan. Like, not like Conan O'Brien or Conan the Barbarian, Conan the anime, like the guy that swindles people out of, like, money and stuff, and I saw that when I was walking in, and I was like, that's weird. Why does he like that guy so much? Anyways, he probably made about $400 a day doing this. He lived in a really nice house. And then the worst thing is, he also would do these things where you had to pay him. I never went through this. I thought this was absurd. You had to pay him several $1,000s, and he would let you try mushrooms under his tutelage. Or he would supposedly guide you through a meditative state, and you would come out a changed person. Which is really, really, really culty. That's a really culty thing to do. Because what mushrooms do is they make someone feel, like, really bad, but really positive in, like, a weird way. Like, it resets your brain in a lot of ways. Yeah. So, he was essentially just drugging them into feeling, like, really positive about their life. That's a shaman. He was not a shaman. This dude was crazy. And a lot of times they would become his girlfriends after. It was just really, really bad. He would also, yeah, charge thousands of dollars to lead the person through their shroom experience. So he was brainwashing them. He was nuts. Anyway, that dude was probably the craziest. So, what you're telling us is if you missed being this guy's GF. No, I did not want to be this guy's GF. I left. I met him once and I left. I was, even like when I was like not convinced that all the cult stuff was fake, I was just like, this guy's nuts. And I left immediately. Like, this guy was like so far out there. I was just like, no, okay. Maybe you can control energy. Maybe you can control chakras. Maybe, like, crystals have powers. Maybe astrology's real. This guy's crazy. And then I left midway through, and I waited in the car. How did your mother end up finding all these cults? Did the cults interact with each other? I think so. Like, the thing is, I guess this is giving away a little bit more, but whatever. Gingivitis, I guess, went through like the same stuff. Like our parents might have even spoken to each other, which is crazy to think about. But they all kind of operate in this thing where they have these different ideologies and they meet up for conferences. So they meet up for conferences and then they also kind of share the same space online like how VTubers do. Which is crazy. Which is nuts. Smoke. I like that Gingy's name just evokes this. So it might be something where someone is a UFO cultist and they believe that UFOs bring power and they sit in like I forgot about this. They sit in like these stupid weird like giant metal triangles and then they meditate in them thinking that they're bringing them more powers and stuff. Like they interact with like the people that also believe that what are some of the other ones? In the Shasta Mountains, because there are clouds that look like they're oval, there's some sort of like activity there that's going to charge like your energy more than if you were in a different place and it's coming from like the heavens and stuff. Like there's overlap between all of them. Dakota of Earth had a stint where he was just interviewing random leaders in India. One of them gave him a grain of rice he said he wasn't going to eat it. I think John of God is no, that was it. Okay, I was already out of the cult. But this was the thing that made me really weird and like freak out. So, when I was very, very, very young, I was supposed to go to Brazil and I was supposed to meet John of God. And I had issues with like my sinuses and stuff. And I got a really bad feeling when I was supposed to get on the plane to go to Brazil. Like I freaked out and I would not go to Brazil, which is silly, but I would refuse to go. I was in a lot of cults, yeah. The John of God, yeah. I was freaking out. This is not a fake story. This is legitimate. I was freaking out. It was through one specific cult that operated in Los Angeles. They all had a trip to go see that person. And we'd been planning on going for like a month, but when I got to the airport, I was freaking out and going crazy. And I was like, I don't want to go. I feel like if I get on the plane, I'm going to die. And they were like, you have to go. And I was like, no, we're going to die if we go. And they were like, you have to go. And I was like, no, I refuse to go. I'm going to die. My mom was really angry at me for years and 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 years. But the thing is, I found out way later, after I became a VTuber even, like just in the last few years, John of God was mutilating people, maiming them. A lot of people that went to go see him disappeared. He was a prolific child molester. He also was a human trafficker. And he had so many sexual assault cases that he actually had to have a phone line specifically open so people could just report those sexual assault cases because it was making it so no police could go to any other thing or do anything else because the phone lines were constantly clogged with people reporting his sexual assault cases. Overall, there were about 200 that they went forward with actually trying to pursue, but how many actually called in was much higher. So, wasn't he on Oprah? He was on Oprah, but I had a really bad feeling about going, so I didn't go. And she was pissed at me for years, but, yeah, I had a really bad feeling about it. So you should always follow your gut instincts and not worry so much because, dear God, you could end up in a really bad situation. Did she ever apologize? She never really got out of the cult stuff fully. So what she said was, well, you had good instincts there. And then she kind of moved on. And then if I ever tried to talk to her about her a little bit more, like, hey, maybe the cult stuff's like, or maybe the stuff you believe in might not all be the case if it's this guy, she was like, just like, no, I think they had some really, like, they just, like so many people, like their power corrupts them and they had some really amazing insights. So, like maybe they just went down the wrong track and it's like, okay. All right. What a blessing that you avoided that. Yeah, although this was way before any of that stuff came out. I was just very nervous around them. So, best case scenario, I could have had my sinuses shredded because he kept putting scalpels up people's noses to try to heal their sinuses. That was what they did for some reason. Or they scrape people's eyeballs if they were having issues with their eyes with a knife. They would scrape their eyeballs because they were a psychopath. Because they didn't care about hurting other people because they didn't have that in their brain. Anyway. There was also a lady that uplifted people, supposedly, and would unblock bad things going on in their lives. This was also a very manipulative person. She said that she could make it so if you went to one of her talks where you had to pay money to get in, It was kind of insane, but she decided to tell everyone that if you went to one of her talks, she would at some point go and initiate. It was initiation. She would initiate people, and they could stop having all of these bad effects in their life. That she would cut them off from all of the negativity and all of the things that were blocking them energetically. Like people were being blocked energetically, and she could cut themselves off from that. Anyways, but yeah, the thing is, my mom went there. She really wanted to be initiated because she felt like her life wasn't going in a good direction. I can tell you why now her life wasn't going in a good direction, but I'll tell like what happened there first. She sold her stuff. She drove over to her while she was in town because she was on a weird spiritual self-help tour. She wanted to be initiated. She didn't get initiated. And then she convinced herself, like, you know what? I think I was initiated because she was going around and like I felt the energy of it. I felt the energy of it, so I think I was. Her life didn't get better. She needed to get a job. She needed to get a job. She needed to pursue anything that would give her enough money to survive instead of being crazy. That was it. That was really it. That was 100% it. A lot of people are just convinced that like they're made for something really special and unique and specific. And that's okay. You can be extremely unique and special and specific. But you need to get a job if you don't have food. And if you don't have enough money to sustain your lifestyle. Even if it's a very like cheap and like barely like doing anything lifestyle. Anyways. It would be your supervillain origin story. Well, I had nice people in my life. Like, the thing is, like, I had a few people in my life that were very kind to me. It wasn't my dad, he was like 100 times worse. But, like, I had a few people that were very kind to me. And I also had a lot of really nice stories that I grew up with that really made me happy. Anyway, can't join the Discord? You can join the Discord if you want, but I'm gonna just continue playing the video now. Those are all my experiences. Let's see what they have to say. These are probably far worse.
Most of the replies were short. A few talked about strict parents, about isolation, or being told who they could and couldn't speak to. But one comment stood out. It came from someone who said they'd grown up inside a Christian organization.
Okay, I'm gonna say one more thing. Your shut-in nature saved you from the cults? I didn't know this at the time, but I unironically 100% believe that my autism saved me from the cults! Because I took everything they were saying very straightforward. And that doesn't work if you're trying to indoctrinate someone into a cult as easily. Like, in some way you were a lot harder to manipulate, but at the same time you were a lot more susceptible to like, I guess like, you're susceptible to like certain type of like, what's it called? Like, manipulation. Like, you're more susceptible to like, I guess people like on a one-on-one level in some places, and like some people will try, like, yeah, autism, let's go, for real though! You can be gullible in specific ways, but when it comes to cults and stuff, it's usually pretty hard. Because like the thing is, they tell you all this, and I'm sure people have different experiences, but I'd want to know all of the information about what they were talking about. And with cults, like, you can't get all of the information of what they're talking about. Like, manipulation on a personal level, you can be taken advantage of, but when it's like, okay, we do all this for these reasons. Okay, why? Well, for these reasons, and then you experience this, but I'm not experiencing that specifically. Why isn't this working? Like, I believed in some of it, but I could not really get into it ever, because I just couldn't do it. How does one even find cults? Are they just around the USA? In Germany, I've never heard of such except the really big ones they teach you in school about. They usually operate in larger cities. Michael Grimmi reached out on Facebook. Yeah, Facebook is somewhere that they use. If you are in the spiritual self-help community, or if you go and look up stuff on the spiritual self-help community, if you're forced to act, think, and wear the same thing, if you don't comply, you get punished. Business, military, political, religious, family, cults are possible. Oh yeah, there's cults of all kinds. This is just the spiritual self-help ones. Well, actually, there's quite a few self-help cults. They're not all spiritual. There was one that was operating in Los Angeles that I think I can talk about. I didn't go to this one. These guys were nuts. But essentially what they would do is they would induce a mental breakdown. So they would encourage people to come in, and they would encourage them to sit with them. Military cult? No, this wasn't a military cult. This was I guess a self-help cult? Where do I hold the e-meter? This wasn't an e-meter one. This one was really weird. So you had to pay like $500 to get in, which is a lot of money. And what it was a 2-day retreat. And you would have to go in there, and you would sit in a metal chair, or like just not a like really comfortable one. There were a ton of people there, and you would all face like this stage. And what they would do is they would say, okay, we're going to try to, yeah, you've heard of this one? Yeah, we're going to try to like make it so you can experience the negative things in your life and come to terms with them and all this other stuff. They had a giant coffin at the front of the room. And the thing is, they would also invite at least one person into the metal coffin, which they would then lock. And just watch the person in there and chill out. And the thing is, being locked in a metal coffin for extended periods of time will give you a panic attack. No matter who you are, no matter how calm you are, unless you just somehow take a nap, you're going to start to have a panic attack. The thing is, they wanted people to start having panic attacks because if they could do that, they could say that they were having an emotional reaction and they were having an emotional experience that was going to clear their energy and make them feel more comfortable and more powerful and all this other stuff. Yeah, sensory deprivation does that, yeah. So, I loved sleeping in tight spaces. You might have been okay. But what they were doing essentially is they were inducing a panic attack so the person would have an epiphany about some negative feeling in their lifetime. So, if you were locked in a metal coffin, that would maybe bring up some very negative trauma or some very negative feelings. And you might go like, oh my God, I hate my mother, or something like that. Something very normal. You would view these situations even if you had a relatively okay-ish like relationship with like the people in your life. If you had ones that were just like, you know, like small disagreements or things that would pass or things that you were going to calm down from. Like, these are things where you could rile someone up into a point where they were having a panic attack and going into a frenzy. So, very common cult tactic is to torture the prospective cultists while blaming their very normal reaction on themselves. Yes, they also can deprive people of food and deprive people of sleep. So, yeah, there's more susceptible to positive suggestions. Yeah, I've also read books on CIA stuff. It's very similar, even though I don't think they developed them in tandem. Some of them did. Some of the cults were, what's it called? They were linked with the CIA and stuff, but not of the ones I'm talking about. I didn't have any experience with those ones, to my knowledge. But the thing is, yeah, they lock you in a coffin, or they go and they have other people say really intense stuff to you, like in a group, or like you pair off with like a random person, and you slowly just get broken down. You slowly get broken down into a very negative state, and then you're very susceptible. And not very hype thing to go through. So people end up then feeling way better once they have a huge emotional reaction. Like, way better than they have in years. Because the thing is, they don't usually have those intense emotional reactions, especially if someone's depressed, especially if someone's not doing good, especially if they kind of live an average lifestyle. So they associate that intense sense of relief after no longer having a panic attack, and all of your body calming down and releasing a bunch of like feel-good chemicals to try to get you to just chill out. Is that why you're into VTubers? I don't think I've induced a panic attack at you, but maybe I have. I hope you're okay. Don't have a panic attack. But the thing is, they do all of that stuff. I think VTubers are a different like thing related to psychological stuff. We can talk about that later. Not all cults are bad. All cults are bad. Because the thing is, all of them come from a sense of kind of... I know that that's a hard thing to come to terms with, but they teach people really, really bad things about themselves and others. They're all bad. Even if they're not outwardly attacking people, they are sometimes like doing it quietly, going like, oh my God, I can't believe her, right? Oh my God, she was just so terrible to leave us like that. Oh, we did so much for her, right? We did so much. Yeah, we did so much. She was just horrible. Like stuff like that. Like that's maybe the consensus when someone leaves, which is not ideal. Or even if they're not like, oh, they're terrible, it might just be like, I can't believe she rejected all of the kindness we showed her. All of the goodness. She just decided to leave it all behind. Like stuff like that. That sounds like a massive guilt trip. Yeah, cults use massive guilt tripping. So here's how it goes. In a cult, someone may want to leave. Someone might not feel good about how the cult is conducting itself. For whatever reason. They want to leave. They might go, I'm leaving, I don't feel good about this, you're doing this wrong, or this is going wrong, or this is happening, I don't want to be here. What the cult will then do is go, oh my God, that person is horrible. Can you believe everything that they did? Oh my God, they're evil. Oh my goodness, I can't believe after everything we've done for them, after everything you did for them. Oh my God, oh my goodness gracious, this is terrible, this is terrible, this is terrible, this is terrible, this is terrible. They rejected everything that we've done. And we were so nice to them. We were so nice to them. Oh my gosh. And ignore all of the negative things that they did to that person by the measure of being a cult. That's pretty much it. What's really funny is when I was in cults, and a bunch of different ones, I would watch documentaries about cults and go like, wow, I'm so glad I'm not in a cult. Like, for real, I would. That's what everyone in a cult does. It's crazy. What I don't get about some cults is that they have members who do work most of the time wasting of ways, allow more free time by prosper time management, and get more loyal followers. Don't join a cult. Think for yourself. Follow your emotions and feelings when you feel them. Don't make it anyone else's responsibility to think for you or tell you what to do or give you a sense of purpose. Okay, we're gonna continue onward now. Okay.
Called ATI. It was part of a larger movement known as the Institute in Basic Life Principles, founded in the early 1960s
This one's pretty messed up
by an
for what I know.
American minister named Bill Gothard. His teachings were built around hierarchy and control. Men held authority over women, parents over children, and obedience was considered the highest form of faith. Families who followed the program homeschooled their children, limited outside contact, and shaped their entire lives around what Gothard taught. For decades it grew quietly, spreading through churches and families across the United States. But for the people born into it, that kind of obedience often meant silence. And in this Reddit comment, one former member explained what that silence really looked like.
I did see the before and after of Obama. It really did some long-lasting damage. Being the president stressful, sorry, I'm tossing.
I was part of a fundamentalist Christian cult known as ATI, or IBLP. Recent scandals have hit the news about the cult leader Bill Gothard, when over 50 women came forward with allegations that he sexually harassed them.
That's how it goes with cult
But that's
weirdos.
only scratching the surface. Let me tell you my scariest experience, and just keep in mind, I'm far from the only one. First off, throughout my childhood, my father and sisters abused me. Since the cult taught a strict familial hierarchy, with the father being top dog, then mother, then children in order of birth, as the youngest I was bottom of the totem pole. My father would twist Bible verses to justify abuse, death threats, and more. Because ATI is a homeschool cult, it was really handy to cover up the abuse from any prying eyes. My home was a prison for 11 years until he died of a massive heart attack. And that's not even the scariest experience. Fast forward 2 years, I'm 13, with a mother who's frantically fixated on me being a troubled child.
Oh no.
Because 1, I dared resist my father's advances and argue against the abuse I was suffering, gaining me the reputation of rebellious. 2, I'm severely depressed because I'm a freaking abuse victim, and depression is considered sin. And 3, I asked too many questions as to why we believed the things we believed.
Oh no, I get you,
don't
dude.
ask questions, needless to say. So, she calls some cult members here and there, pulls some strings, and long story short, she gets me placed in a secretive program called the Log Cabin Program. They tell her very little details about it, and she tells me even less. All I know is I'm about to move to Oklahoma for a while, to be fixed by nice counselors, because I'm a dirty sinner. Wednesday, July 11th, 2001. I'm dropped off at a locked-down compound in the middle of nowhere near Skiatook, Oklahoma, called the Eagle Springs Training Center. They pose as a residential childcare facility for appearance's sake. This means my mother literally signs over custody of me, her own child, to a bunch of strangers in a compound in the middle of nowhere, and leaves me there and
Sounds
goes
like
back
Mormons,
home far
maybe.
away. They assure her I'm in good hands. For the next 2 years, I'm tortured, brainwashed, starved, sleep-deprived, threatened with a shotgun, punished, humiliated, interrogated, and terrorized. I lost 40 pounds in the first month or 2. They take me off my medications, believing it is wrong to take them, and go cold turkey. I exhibit severe
that's fair. They
symptoms
do
of
that.
withdrawal, and they go ignored. I am worked grueling hours, sent on aimless hikes and marches, scrubbing floors on my hands and knees until my knuckles are cracked and bleeding from the bleach, and punished with hard labor until I'm near fainting. They had fun coming up with new and strange punishments. This implies that it's deserved, when in fact they're instructed specifically to break their students' will, whatever it takes.
Oh dear lord.
One was a forced vow of silence. You were told never to speak for days or weeks on end. If you do, you're punished further. I was given tasks designed to fail. For example, extremely short time limits on difficult tasks, in order to be punished and humiliated. I was forced to grovel and confess humiliating sins, existent and none, in front of the 30 or so members in the compound. I was given spoiled, undercooked foods, and even chemically treated water that burned my throat and left me horribly sick.
Oh.
I was placed in solitary confinement for 2.5 weeks, while they blared music to torture me. The song lyrics went, "Trust in the Lord, he makes no mistakes. He knoweth the end of each path that we take. For when I am tried and purified, I shall come forth as gold." Basically, it was a blatant message. You're being tortured because God loves you, and he's going to put you through fire to melt you into gold, and gave me endless confessional papers to complete detailing what a terrible sinner I am.
Oh dear lord.
I was interrogated for hours on end, as well as hypnotized. I was screamed at and exercised for hours on end. I had no privacy.
Wow.
Even going to the bathroom, they would stand outside the door. I could go on and on and on. I was there for 2 years. The scariest part of all of this is that I am far from the only one. The log cabin program was run in Oklahoma, Indiana, and I believe an alternate version for Russian orphans was done elsewhere, either Indiana or Illinois.
Oh my god.
All of these programs secretly tortured and brainwashed children and teenagers. Many of them were so-called delinquents. They had committed minor, petty crimes, who were ordered by judges to be shipped to these compounds and held against their wills.
I remember... I really doubt it was this one. It could have been, though. There was one time, and I'm glad that this didn't happen, because my mom was someone that would listen to me, but she did have a pamphlet for, like, a boarding school place for, like, it was definitely a cult, though. But it was a boarding school place that helped people if they were having, like, mental health issues, and if they were having, like, a lot of, like, issues, like, as a person. I didn't go to it, though. She listened to me. That was cool. But it could have been a place like this, so I'm glad I didn't go. I just got to, I got to enjoy my life and have a little bit of time to myself. That was nice. Dodged a bullet. She was very kind to not be the type of person to just go, like, you're broken, you're going to do this. It could have been a normal place, but it was a cult place, so it would have been weird. Might not have been this bad. They might have been people that tried to help people legitimately. But all of these probably look like very nice places from the outside.
Runs very deep. It's never been accounted for and probably never will be. They tried to investigate alarming allegations of child abuse, some of which included beatings in Indianapolis, and the whole thing got swept under the rug. The only thing you got to hear about on the news was Gothard feeling up a bunch of women.
Dang.
You never hear about his systematic child torture programs.
Wow.
Bill Gothard and IBLP simply have their fundamentalist hands in too many pies. They will probably never be caught.
Wow.
One user asked, "How did you escape the camp at all?" She replied by writing, "Eventually my mother accepted me back as her daughter.
Oh,
For those
it was a
2
lady
years,
too.
She would take me home for vacation once in a while, only after several months of breaking me had passed, so that they knew I would be too terrified and brainwashed to report anything while at home. But if I dared to ask, she would essentially tell me I wasn't good enough to be her daughter just yet. Then eventually, I had the good fortune of getting dangerously ill while on one of these vacations at home. I was sick for 2 months, in and out of hospitals. She got used to me being around after 2 months, and I guess since I was so traumatized and too scared to be anything but ridiculously compliant, she was satisfied.
Oh, wow.
She requested my return, and that was my escape.
Dear Lord.
The worst thing about this, though, is that it's not a hard story to believe. Back in the 1980s, there was already trouble at the top. Bill Gothard's brother Steve, who helped run the
These are
organization,
more common than people
resigned
believe.
after affairs with several secretaries. Writers from Midwest Christian Outreach later said Bill admitted misconduct during that period, stepped aside for a time, then returned and filled board seats with people who backed him.
Wow.
By 2014, those same stories had grown louder. More than 50 women came forward accusing Bill Gothard of harassment, and of ignoring reports of child abuse within the organization, leading to his...
This is just like the John of God guy. This is just like him. It's like these guys have a specific script they follow. Like, I do believe that there's some cults that are a little bit less bad in terms of, like, the torture and stuff, but it seems like if you accidentally get involved with one, like, that's held together by a psychopath, like, they just are like, all right, time to start abusing kids. And they, like, just go, like, and they get to it. The pattern? I guess so. The script on how to run a cult? I think it's more that just, like, if someone's given unlimited power, like, they're gonna go in a really cruel and, like, upsetting direction. Like, they're not gonna go like, now that I have all this power, now that I feel very safe with all these followers, and I'm kind of like, you know, what's the word, like, shielded from the rest of the world, time to start getting a little bit chiller. Time to start thinking about my relationship with all of the people around me. Time to start getting them a couple of, like, you know, like, oh, I'll bring in donuts tomorrow. They just go crazy. They just go nuts. And they start getting more and more evil and more psychopathic and more justified in, like, how they act. It's crazy.
Resignation that same year. An internal review by the board said he had acted in an inappropriate manner and permanently barred him from any position of leadership or counseling. Then, in October of 2015, a civil lawsuit was filed in DuPage County, Illinois, against both Gothard and the Institute in Basic Life Principles. It accused them of covering up years of abuse involving minors. The plaintiffs asked for damages and also requested that the court stop the organization from moving more than $100 million in assets while closing its Illinois headquarters and relocating to Texas.
2015?
By early 2016...
Some of these are still active. Like, that's the thing. You don't understand. Like, these aren't something of the past. Like, people are still doing this. People are still doing this in every country, too. Like, there's always going to be organizations that do this type of thing because people want their children to behave in such a way that might not be possible. Like, it might not even be that they're doing something aggressive or, like, evil. They might just be, like, depressed. They might just have anxiety. They might have autism. They might have a little thing that makes them way more stressed out than usual, and because of that, their parents view them as some sort of, like, uncontrollable enemy. So, they allowed them to go to another state. Yeah, that's the thing. The parents aren't, like, good in this situation at all. I'm just saying, like, they probably presented this way more nicely, and these organizations still totally exist, 1,000,000,000%.
16 women and 2 men had joined the case. They described manipulation, harassment, and abuse that stretched back decades. The lawsuit was dismissed in 2018 because the statute of limitations had run out, but the stories themselves were never disproven.
Oh my god, dude.
So when you look at everything that's been said about the organization over the years, the Reddit comment doesn't sound far-fetched. It sounds like a first-hand account of something that's been happening quietly for a very long time. And something
you went
that
to that
continues
place when you were 13? I'm so sorry. I hope that you're healing and feeling better. Because that's not a good thing to have to go through. That's nuts, but it is common.
There are millions of Reddit accounts out there, and most belong to ordinary people who post for a few months and move on, whilst others disappear after a single comment. But every so often, you'll come across one that feels different. Because sometimes, when you scroll through a stranger's history, you realize you're not just looking at their hobbies or their thoughts. You're looking at the traces of someone who's no longer here. Or worse, someone whose name would later make the news, for all the wrong reasons.
What? This doesn't look good. This looks like it might be related to child death or child abuse, so just, if you're having a good night and you don't want to see that, I recommend that you do not watch this upcoming segment. Maybe you're tired. Maybe you want to get some sleep. Maybe you want to relax. Maybe you just want to chill. Also, yeah, she has a little space marine. She might have colored that herself. That's very cute. But just maybe you want to just relax. You want to lay down. You want to chill. You just want to chill. She seems like a very cute kid. You know, just, you know, maybe you don't want to feel anxious or depressed. I'm just letting you know. Thembostain, thank you so much for the raid. I appreciate that, and I hope you're having a very good night, and I hope everyone that you was hanging out with is having a good night, too. Oh, Magic the Gathering. Oh, I hope you enjoyed it. Yo, go and give him a nice little follow if you're into Magic the Gathering. I appreciate it. I need to actually repeat everything I just said. Oh my god, so I don't terrify you guys. This is a video that has very intense content, and this little girl might get hurt in some way, and I don't want you guys to, experience that if you just had a nice time playing Magic the Gathering and want to relax or watching intense videos. This one's not so much spooky as it is extremely traumatizing so far, so I just wanted to let you know. It was very nice of you to raid. I wanted to make sure you guys knew that so you didn't just go like, okay, cool. Oh, I'm not happy anymore. Wow. We're used to drama? Okay. I just want to put that out there. Alright, but thank you so much for the raid, and I hope you had a lovely time playing Magic.
Scrolling through his account,
Got a
nothing
mini off
really
Etsy?
stands out at
Congratulations.
first. He posted about small hobbies, things like Tamagotchis, Digimon, and Nerf guns.
Wow.
He'd comment on other people's collections, reply to questions, even share a few photos of his own. His posts were consistent and normal, but out of everything he ever shared, there's one post that stands out. Because once you see what's in it, you realize exactly who this account belonged to. On October 31st, 2020, the user Sustanet posted, "The finished product. My girlfriend's 9-year-old daughter planned and painted this scheme,
Oh,
with
that's
a bit
nice.
of help from me on the helmet and small bits. She is very proud, and it looks pretty darn good.
I wish this
Your
wasn't on
girlfriend's
this.
9-year-old daughter paints better than any pro painter I've ever seen on eBay.
Aw, that's nice.
She says thank you, and wow, she didn't know she did so well."
Aw.
Scrolling through the photos, they show the figure from
She did do a really good job. Look, you can even see like the details on like the little like emblem there. She did do wonderfully. Wow.
multiple directions,
You've seen that
until
post?
we reach the last image.
Uh-oh.
The girl in the image is Madeleine Soto, meaning the owner of the Reddit account was Stefan Michael Stearns, who at the time of this post being uploaded had been abusing her for years. On the morning of February 26th, 2024, staff at her middle school reported that she never arrived to class. The next day, police began asking the public for help. Disturbingly, body cam footage shows her mother, Jen Soto, speaking with officers outside their home, explaining that she'd dropped Madeline off near school that morning. Standing beside her, silent with his arms crossed, was her then boyfriend, Stefan Michael Stearns. A search for Madeline began on February 28th, 2 days after she was reported missing, led by the Orange County Sheriff's Office. On March 1st, her body was found in a wooded area near Kissimmee.
Dear
The case
Lord.
quickly shifted from a missing person to a homicide investigation.
Dear
A
Lord.
later report confirmed that Madeline had died from strangulation. Investigators soon uncovered
What?
surveillance footage of Stearns on the morning she disappeared. He was seen throwing several items into a dumpster, which were later identified as Madeline's backpack and her
They really shouldn't be
school-issued
showing
laptop.
her photo?
On February 28th,
Yeah.
police questioned Stearns, who was
Well-
then 37 years old.
I think the reason that they don't... I think the reason they censor children's photos on, like, YouTube videos and stuff is because they want to keep the children from being harassed by people or being involved, like, so people can't go and find them, so I guess they're viewing it that way. This is very upsetting, though. Remember this case? This case is absurd. Like, what? I won't go back into the death penalty stuff. We'll just keep watching.
And living in Kissimmee. He agreed to let detectives search his phone.
Jetty,
Inside, they
Jetty,
found
calm down,
hundreds of
kitty.
photos and videos showing Stearns abusing Madeline, with some of the recordings dating back to when she was just 8 years old.
Oh my god,
The same
dear
evidence
Lord.
was also found on his Google Drive. Stearns attempted to have the material excluded from the investigation, arguing that it had been obtained without a warrant, but the evidence was ruled admissible. In April 2020,
What the hell is wrong with you? Just like, oh, you didn't have a warrant when you saw hundreds of pictures of me attacking a child and assaulting them. So, let's get this thrown out. Like, what kind of lawyer, what kind of human being would just... 1 second, Jachi was losing it. One sec. Come in, Shua. Come in. Yeah, you can come in too, Michael. We're gonna have a quick time in here. Both bogos are in here for moral support. There are now 2 orange cats, or one's half orange, one's orange. Alright. Hi, babies. I hope you're having a good night.
1994, a grand jury indicted Stearns for the murder of 13-year-old Madeline Soto. The 9th Judicial Circuit State Attorney's Office
Thankfully, common
announced
sense
plans
prevailed.
to
I
seek the
can't
death
imagine
penalty,
it.
citing the extent and severity of the crimes. Stearns
I have no comment on this. I will not say anything on how I feel about this person and whether or not they should be given the death penalty because we already had that discussion, but you can probably assume how I feel about this.
defense attorney argued that capital punishment violated the 5th, 6th, 8th, and 14th Amendments, calling it cruel and unusual, but the prosecution continued to pursue it. In total, the state attorney's office filed 60 separate charges against Stearns, including 8 counts of physical assault involving a child under 12, 5 counts involving a child between 12 and 18, 7 counts of inappropriate contact, and 40 counts of unlawful possession of materials depicting the exploitation of minors.
And
each possession charge involved
what about
at least
the
10
murder?
images, meaning Stearns had potentially stored hundreds of files.
Oh my
The
God.
affidavit also stated that Stearns was in a position of familial or custodial authority at the time of several of the sexual batteries.
Yeah.
On July 21st, 2025, Stearns pleaded no contest to the charge of first-degree murder and guilty to all 60 counts of sex crimes. Later that afternoon, he was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole.
Was it something where like you have to plead guilty to avoid, or not guilt? You have to plead guilty to avoid like the life, the like death penalty or something? 60 counts is so many, dude.
Receiving 1 life sentence for the murder of Madeline Soto and 20 more for the sexual offences. Looking back at that post now, it's almost impossible
20
to read it the
years?
same
Come
way.
on.
What once looked like a harmless hobby photo is now something deeply disturbing.
This is so upsetting too, just because like the thing is, this shows that he had the understanding and the wherewithal to like actually treat the little girl like a human and try to help her develop interests and like be a little person. Like he understood what it was like to like be a father. He just disregarded it. So he could have instead spent his time encouraging her to do the things that she loved and showing her new things about the world, and he had the complete ability to. He had mental health issues of some kind. It does not matter. Still completely inexcusable. I don't know. A lot of people have mental health issues and they don't assault children and then murder them. Like that's pretty much it. I feel like that should just be like, you can of course like go like, okay, he had all these issues. He had like brain damage. He had like something where like he damaged his head and then he hurt her. Like that's, I don't know. I think maybe like at that point, like if you notice that you're having like these horrifying like problems, like you need to tell someone or something, because this is, I don't know. I just don't know. Even if he didn't get the death penalty the second he goes to prison, it would not be surprised if he passed in. That would be nice. But he had some kind of personality disorder? What? His mental health issues were severe enough he would have been convicted in a life in a psych ward. That's true too. That can actually be much worse than prison even though, so they might have been trying to avoid it. I do think that mental illness can be something where it's worth discussing. I think if the person is someone that was living a normal and healthy life, got a head injury, and then their personality changed and they started harming people or harming themselves, or some people even make the argument that like a brain thing in their brain switches and then they begin consuming like harmful material or harmful material towards children, stuff like that. I think that's something that needs to be like studied. So if people have that sort of like, or a stroke, yeah, have that sort of brain damage, it can be something where people can begin correcting it. Like I think that that's like, if you've had a serious brain injury and you now have like more violent tendencies and stuff, maybe see if there's any sort of program you can go to or look into it to see if they could maybe help you with it. Because like at this point, this is absurd. I don't know. Anyway, he had some kind of psychosis. Definitely, excuse me, not that he had definitely had one. If he had some kind of psychosis, I guess it could be why he attacked and killed her. But it's not, like, why he attacked her for many years. I don't know. He had the ability to be, like, a father figure to her. And, I don't know, just evil person. Evil person, glad he's in jail forever.
The casual tone in the comments, and even the way he wrote.
Isn't a person harming people mentally unwell, to say the least? Yeah, the thing is, if you like harming people, if you like seeing them sad, if you like seeing them upset, if you like seeing like I don't know, I personally believe any of that on any level is just not someone not doing well. The thing is, if you get a traumatic brain injury, you can also end up like that. Some people end up hurting their family members. Maybe if you somehow have the wherewithal to like reach out to a psychiatrist and let them know, like they might be able to help you or put you on some sort of like mood stabilization medication or something. We would be pitying, isn't a person who enjoys harming people mentally unwell, we would be pitying the memory of the person they once were. That's true. If they had a brain injury, yeah. Maybe someday they'll find a way to help people that have these traumatic brain injuries, but this wasn't the case with this guy. This was just the devil.
About her, takes on a different meaning
Seems like
once
he was
you
just
know
evil.
who he was and what he was already doing at the time. Somewhere in that thread, people were complimenting his painting, completely unaware that the man behind the screen was living a double life, and that the child he spoke about with pride was a victim he would eventually murder. That's the dangerous thing about Reddit. Behind every
Who's
username,
Chris
every
Bonlet?
post, every friendly reply,
Bonnet?
there's a
Bonnet?
person you can never fully
Wait,
see.
is he the wrestler?
And
That sounds
sometimes
familiar. We've
the
talked
truth
about
about who they are is far darker than anyone could imagine.
that was pretty intense. This next one's shorter, it looks like. He was the wrestler? Yeah. I don't believe mental illness or brain injury is enough excuse for violence against others, not situation never. No, I'm not saying that. I think if you choose to harm another person, that's on you. If you choose to physically harm another person, that is beyond redemption, I think. Like, if you're in a state of psychosis, I think you can get on medication and you can start to rebuild your life. That's pretty much it. I don't think anyone owes you that rebuilding of your life depending on the severity of it, though. That being said, I think that if someone has a traumatic brain injury, we need to study why they become so violent a little bit more, so we can prevent that in the future. That would probably be extremely ideal. But it's not something that's studied ever, because people usually just snap and go like, okay, well, we're gonna do this. Pretty sure it would be effed up. IRL would be a good thing, but I wonder how much life would change if everyone had to go through a yearly psych exam. I think it's something. I think yearly would probably make it a very, very, very dangerous environment. I think if we had yearly psych reports, people would use that to justify a lot of things when it came to putting people into weird programs, or maybe even getting them taken off of their jobs and putting them into facilities. I think there was legislation passed that actually said that people can now be put into mental health facilities. They can be detained and put there, like, without reason. Like, you have to just be reasonably insane, I guess. Or, like, reasonably, like, a nuisance or something to that effect. So...
It was late at night, on
Crap.
July 19th, 2025, when a user opened
Damn
Reddit
it.
and began to type. He said his friend had told him
Damn
something
it.
awful,
Damn
something
it.
he couldn't get out of his head. Naturally, he had posted into the True Off My Chest subreddit,
Damn it.
looking for guidance on support. The issue, though, was that his friend had done something much darker than anyone expected.
Yeah, crystallization of public opinion is exactly how this is going, yep. Good book. Glad you enjoyed it.
My friend told me something awful, and I can't stop thinking about it. David and I have been friends since high school. My high school had a thing where the freshman students would be assigned a senior to show them around, and that's how I
nice.
met him. I was assigned to David.
Okay.
In high school, David
We're back to the
started
video,
dating
don't
a
worry.
girl named Sammy. They were the stereotypical high school sweetheart couple, going on cheesy dates and sending each other love letters, that type of couple. Well, they got married after college and were due to have a baby in April. However, Sammy had complications while giving birth and ended up passing away from excessive bleeding,
Oh, dear
leaving
Lord.
David as a single father to his newborn daughter. David, understandably so, hasn't been taking it well at all. For the first month or so, his parents were helping him take care of his daughter, but had to go back home as they live about an hour away.
Ugh.
Since then, I've been helping David as much as I can, as we live in the same town. Last night, he called me at about 2 a.m. and told me to come over because he needed to talk to me about something important. Even though he had woken me up, I wasn't about to leave him alone, so I drove to his house and found him sitting on his front step drinking a beer. It was clear he had been crying, and that definitely wasn't his first drink. He told me to sit with him, so I did. What he tells me next is what I can't stop thinking about. David tells me that Sammy never wanted to have kids, but David did. He explained how having kids had become a hot topic in their house, and he was worried it would ruin their marriage. He didn't want her to leave him and also wanted a baby, so he chose to sabotage her birth control and convince her to keep the pregnancy. He tells me that now he believes that her death is his fault, and said that he can't look at their daughter without feeling guilty and like a murderer. I was genuinely at a loss for words. I didn't know what to think, and I honestly still don't. After his confession, I just convinced him to go to bed and tried not to think about what he just told me. I'm not even sure what to think anymore. This whole situation is disgusting. That was 3 days ago, and I've kept in contact with him until I can figure out what to do next. I just genuinely don't know what to do now. The post received hundreds of comments.
Yeah, he does need to go to therapy immediately. Oh my god, I don't even know what I'd tell someone in that situation. Yeah, therapy. 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 Not as bad as I expected. What? I think this is one of the most horrible things that you can do to another person. Like, if you do something that they don't want and it accidentally results in their death, that would probably fill you with an insane amount of guilt for the rest of your natural life. That would be completely impossible to get away from. Like, you'd suffer for every moment of your life for the rest of it. Yeah, this is extremely evil. I feel like this is, like, she died from the pregnancy? Yeah, she died. Yeah, she died. Oh. This video is leading to way too many intense topics.
From people urging him to report it, or at least convince his friend to get therapy. Whether he ever took their advice, or if anything came of that night, no one really knows, and I've not been able to find any credible news reports that align with the timing of the birth or post. The account has since been deleted, and the moderators removed the post soon after.
Wow.
All that's left are the comments, still sitting there, left wondering what really happened next.
Ah. He needs to be chemically castrated. He can't control. I don't think he needs to be chemically castrated. I think he has a tremendous amount of, like, remorse over what he did. Like, I think that's one of the times where, like, he's gonna suffer so much, like, it's kind of just like, well, no one can even do anything more. It's not okay, her death sort of isn't directly his fault. Yeah, absolutely. Let's see. It's a person who's lost a friend by the help given, putting him in a recovery position. I understand the self-hate comes from loss. Yeah, and this wasn't like a recovery position for her. This was something she objected to. So, go to therapy. The collab's under 13 hours, crap.
Some years ago, a Reddit user began posting about someone who wouldn't leave her alone. She didn't name him, but she described the fear, the late-night knocks, the messages, and the sense that he was always nearby. The internet offered advice, reassurance, and a false sense of safety. But what happened next was something no one could have prepared her for.
The stalker. Maybe respect your wife. Yeah, they needed to have conversations about it, so he's gonna live with his guilt forever.
Anyone had success with private investigators? For the past 6 months, I've been relentlessly stalked and had threats against my life made from someone I dated for a month.
Oh no.
It started with phone calls upwards of 45 to 50 a day, 50-page text messages, and him showing up outside of my house at 5 a.m. When I wouldn't comply or feed the negative attention, I began to receive threats and claims that he would murder me and get away with it, saying all he would have to do is flee the country, and telling me he shouldn't have to force me to be his friend or give him another chance, or else. Every time I blocked his number from contacting me, he would then call me from different ones, try and pretend to be other people, or have his friends, or sometimes even random strangers he'd ask on the street. I once scared an unsuspecting guy half to death after informing him that the person who had just told him to call me was actually stalking me, and I sent him proof. He ended up calling the police on him. He fled, of course.
Oh my god.
After about 2 months of that, I was evicted from my apartment building due to my neighbours no longer feeling safe because of his looming presence.
Oh my god.
I then applied for and was granted a temporary protective order, or TPO. A few days afterwards, I received a picture message of the note the Sheriff Civil had left on the door of my stalker's then residence, with a message taunting me. What you are trying to do was stupid, and a restraining order is just a piece of paper. So ultimately, he just ended up avoiding the process. I wasn't being protected at all. On May 31st of this year, I relocated. This did not deter my stalker. He vowed to find wherever I moved to, and threatened that if he couldn't find me, he would be able to find my family, and then proceeded to send me a map of my mother's home, whom he had never met. I also received a message from a woman claiming to be my former landlord, letting me know that I owed a balance on my account and to avoid late fees, I needed to pay the amount, which I could do with the link provided in the message. Turns out it was my stalker pretending to be a woman, and the link turned out to be a tool used to grab the user's IP address when they click the link. Upon this discovery, I changed my phone number and began to systematically dismantle any trace of an online presence I once had. This action only seemed to anger him, and before deleting the profiles outright, I would attempt to block him from contacting me. Each and every time I blocked one, he simply created a new one and proceeded to contact me as if nothing had happened. 12 different Reddit accounts, 9 different Tumblrs, 10 different Instagrams, 3 Meetup accounts, 4 Facebooks, with which he changed his location to that of my hometown, and proceeded to add nearly everyone from my graduating class in high school, and even 3 Duolingo accounts, and MySpace. Yes, MySpace.
MySpace was the old one.
I then received an empty package from him, addressed to my former residence with the declaration, "Address correction requested. Do not forward." I'm assuming he thought that the post office would adhere to his requests and return the package to him with my new corrected address on it. By mid-July, he created a profile using my photos and likeness to threaten my family, and when I didn't respond, he proceeded to post semi-nude pictures of me on the profile
Oh my God.
in an attempt to blackmail me into speaking with him. I didn't, and contacted Twitter to report the account and have it removed, which they eventually did. On the 21st of August, I awoke at around 8 p.m. to vigorous knocking and ringing of my doorbell. I look out my window to see who it is, and I was horrified to see my stalker there. I called the police, and of course he fled once again. Over 7 separate police reports have been filed. This incident was followed by threatening emails from my stalker, demanding that I meet him somewhere, or because he had found me, that next time I would wake up to gunshots, and that if I didn't, he would first taser me and assault me, using my boyfriend's blood as lube. This past Sunday night, I woke up at 6:45 a.m.
What's really sad is I think at this point she would have a reasonable case to kill him and not deal with any consequences, but I'm sure she's a nice enough person to not want to murder this guy. I don't think any jury in the entire world would convict her at this point. But she's not, like, crazy, so this isn't something that's going to cross her mind. Like, depends on where she is. No jury in the world would read through that text and go, "Oh my God, what a poor man." Like, everyone would just be like, "Wow, dear Lord." Like, I don't think there's a conviction, like a lawyer that could get, like, the person, like, in trouble for it. Like, I think they'd be like, "Well, here, she's done some bad stuff." And then they'd look at the other stuff and go like, "Oh, wow, that's a lot. Okay, never mind. We thought you had a point for a second there, but no." Anyways, yeah, I think this is insane.
To the ringing and banging again. I proceeded to record him on video while I was on the phone with the police. He fled on foot once
Tried
again.
an insult to call this
and I was hit with the
atrocity
same
a band,
hoopla
that's
from law
true.
enforcement. Well, we can't really do much because technically at this point he's not doing anything wrong.
What?
Then why does he flee, I wonder?
What?
I obtained a TPO again, but I have no
Police are
solid address
useless
for
when it
this
comes to
dangerous
stalkers.
person, which is why I'm in dire need of a private investigator to assist with finding said residence, so this person can be served. I hope you might be able to refer me to someone who might be able to assist me. I've developed insomnia, depression, anxiety, and paranoia.
Yeah, fair.
I'm completely isolated. I am 22 years old, and I have no social life anymore. I have 0 friends. I've become a shell of my former self. I've faced eviction and lost a job because of this man's behavior, and I don't know how much longer I can survive. There's actually so much more filler shit that he has done to terrorize me,
Yeah?
but for the sake of this already lengthy post, I tried to condense it. I have proof in the form of recordings, event diaries, and copies of all of his threats, interactions, and attempts to
Nothing
communicate,
wrong, nothing illegal?
and would be more than willing to
I think a
email
lot
them
of this
to
is
show I'm
illegal.
not lying.
It's just that the police probably
I'm in
don't
Las
know how to,
Vegas,
like,
if that helps
do
at all.
anything about this, because they're
Weeks
just like,
went by,
I don't know.
and the post faded down the front page like so many others do.
No.
Commenters had offered advice, everything from buying cameras to getting a gun, but most people assumed that once the thread went quiet, things had calmed down. Except they hadn't.
No!
Because 2 weeks later, the same user came back with an update, but this time, it wasn't a request for help. It was an explanation of what had just happened. I'm writing this staring at the mess the police left for me. in a bit of a fog. After 6 months of stalking and threats against my life, my stalker finally snapped and decided to kick my door in and make good on his promise. Out of fear, the past month I had begun sleeping with a chair propped against my front door to give myself a few extra precious seconds in case of an emergency. I shudder to think how differently things might have turned out had I not barricaded the door. I awoke at around 1:15 a.m. to the sound of the door giving way after one kick, followed by the sounds of my stalker struggling to dislodge the chair while forcing his way inside. I jumped up and grabbed the gun I've learned to do everything.
Let's go! Finally! Let's go,
I stood at
baby!
the top of my stairs.
Let's
and fired
go!
twice.
Let's go! Every woman should have a gun. Let's go! Let's go! Sorry, I'm really intense about that. Let's go! Let's go, lady. Let's go. Fantastic. Beautiful. That's what we love to see. All right. Hell yeah.
Hitting him in the chest. I
Good
hear
for
his
you.
scream,
Good for
his
you.
disbelief
Good for
that I'd
you.
stood
Good
up for
for you.
myself. 0 to 100 in milliseconds. I've never been so afraid in my life. I don't know if he's living, but I do know the police have him, and that's what helps the most.
Let's go.
For months of him evading the police, I began to question whether he was unstoppable, untraceable. Houdini. He would murder me.
You know what else? This guy is never going to bother her again. Like, even if he lives, even if, like, the police let him go and he just has to be in a hospital, he's never gonna bother her again. Like, never. Ever. You never know. No, the thing is, if you get shot, you no longer think that person's a safe person to terrorize. It doesn't matter how obsessive you're gonna get, you're gonna go, oh, crap, I got shot. I was not good. I got shot. It's going to debilitate him, probably. He's going to require months of, like, rehabilitation. Like, he's just gonna have such a crazy negative, like, perception of this person and what she did to his life that, like, he's never gonna worry about her again. He's just gonna go like, oh crap, that was a bad idea. This person was deranged though. He could have also had a gun. But she shot him before he was able to grab his gun. She grabbed her gun, she shot him, and now he's going to go, okay, this person could kill me. This person could have very easily killed me. I had to go through all of this rehabilitation. I feel like crap. The guy is not saying he might. It's possible, but I really don't think it's likely. Like, even if he's obviously completely out of his mind, but he was attacking her because he had this idea of her and, like, what his life was going to be like together with her. And now he has this idea of what it's going to be like if he gets shot in the head several times. So, I don't know. I'm just saying. I wish he would have shot him in the head. Me too. I wish he would have died.
And get away with it. As of now, I'm in a haze of guilt, surprise,
She is going to
relief,
feel really
and
bad, though.
disbelief.
Yeah.
I shook as the canines drag him out from his hiding place under a bush. I survived where so many people do not. Holy shit, I survived.
You would have probably bled to death if she didn't do that. What a jerk.
Those who believe there was other things to be done have never had someone tell you that you no longer deserve to draw breath and mean it. And for the should have
One on
fired
each
a warning
ankle,
shot,
one on each
folks,
kneecap.
there are no warning shots. A gun is a deadly force. You only pull that trigger if you are in fear for your life, and all other methods of deterring are gone. When he kicked my door in, there was no longer a deterrent preventing harm.
How you?
Warning shots are dangerous
her.
and could hurt the unintended. This is not a Wild West movie. That's what responsible gun owners...
Was someone giving her crap about not firing warning shots? Stalkers are usually very lonely, disturbed people that need psychological help. I have worse things to say about stalkers, but this is my politically correct answer. Okay, that's good. I was about to say no. One of my relatives actually has been the type of person that would stalk people because she's crazy and she goes through situations where she doesn't take her medication. Nope. It would be on her if she were to get attacked with a gun or something. That's if she were to get shot. She should have taken her medication, not on the person. I would feel incredibly sad. I would feel bad for the rest of my life. I would be really, really deeply hurt that I didn't, like, you know, have a mother anymore. But also, if she was going and trying to harm someone and breaking down their door, completely justifiable, I would not feel bad about that. I would not feel bad about that person defending herself.
...ship is. I'll update once things have calmed down a bit. I promise.
Just
I'll
saying.
write back to everyone and after being isolated for so long, to anyone who wants to be friends, I'm always accepting those.
That's nice.
Weeks after that update, news reports confirmed what she had described.
It was real 100%. So... Yep, stalking is only good for good old-fashioned murders. Yeah, I don't think stalking is acceptable. Thing is, when she's on medication, she's a lot better. So, I don't think she might murder. I don't know. When she's not on medication, she is not doing well. She's, like, really far out there. But I think she's gotten better over time. A guy asked me to buy a gun for him because he was a felon, said he would only use it to take warning shots. Dumbest stuff you ever asked. I'm sorry, Wonder. That's really funny, though. He should have warned her for the intrusion then? Yeah. If he wanted warning shots, he should have been like, hey, I'm about to break down your door, just letting you know, just shoot around me for a little bit. People who say warning shots are crazy idiots, yeah, it's a warning shot will stop an idiot after they broke down that door, that's stupid. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think in this case, she did everything right. Stalking sounds like it takes a lot of time out of your day. I was thinking the same thing as, like, we watched this. I was just thinking, like, how does he work? How does he have a job? How does he have a place that he lives? How does he have enough time to do any of the things he needs to as a human being? Like, what, like, is he just like, all right, guys, well, that was a really good meeting. Thank you guys for coming in. We're gonna have a great time. Enjoy your weekend. Enjoy your week. I'm gonna enjoy mine. Oh, yeah, you behave. And then he goes and gets in his car and goes like, I'm gonna go kill that lady that rejected me 2 years ago. Like, what is going on? How do you have where you live? What do you do? That's not possible, is it?
Police said that her stalker, Douglas Eugene Jackson, had
Oh
forced his way through her front door in the middle of the night. She fired
Okay. This guy doesn't look like he's a human. This looks like a literal demon. This is his mugshot after being shot? Maybe he will come try to attack her again. This doesn't look like a human being. This is not a human being. Oh my god. They might, oh my god, yeah, if drugs are involved, they might not even go down with the first shot. Yeah, that's true. This is like I don't know. This is like a character you talk to like in a video game. They don't look like a human. They look like they're not a human. But you talk to them in a video game and you're like, oh, that guy's gonna kill me. That guy looks slightly off. He's supposed to be a demon or something. Yeah, okay, yeah, people are talking about demons. This is the demon. This is the demon. We already know. This is the demon. This is the demon. They aren't trying to hide it. They wanted this to be obvious. This is the demon. This is the guy that's gonna try to kill us. That's him. That's him. That's him. You can tell. Like, look at him! He looks like a no, I'm not a human. Yeah, he does! He does! Check their teeth, yeah? Check their aura.
Eugene Jackson had forced his way through her front door in the middle of the night. She fired twice, hitting him in the chest before he ran. Officers later found him hiding in a set of bushes nearby. He was arrested and taken into custody. Jackson survived the shooting.
What?
He was arrested.
Wait, what?
Officers later... She fired twice, hitting him in the chest before he ran.
This guy is an actual demon. Like an actual legitimate demon. He was hit in the chest by 2 bullets twice, and he ran off and hid in the bushes. This is not a human being. This is the demon that was trying to kill her. They are like a biblical antichrist. Depends on where in the chest and the caliber gun. It could have been a very low caliber. It could have been a small handgun or like a little tiny revolver. But 2 shots in the chest. Even if she was using 22, even if she was using a small caliber, 2 shots in the chest would hurt like crazy. I've heard 9 millimeters. Like, that's, I don't know. Probably some weak bullets. Even if they were weak bullets, they still have a bullet inside of them. Or they have a bullet that's exited. It's insane that he was able to run and hide in a bush and not go, oh crap, I've been shot, I'm dying. No, he was shot in the chest twice. He was hit in the chest twice. He was somehow not killed by being hit in the chest twice. Your lungs are there, your heart is there. Like, it said hitting him in the chest, fired at him twice. Okay.
Middle of the night. She fired twice, hitting him in the chest before he ran. Officers... He
must have been in shock. Adrenaline probably got him to the bush. The pain probably kept him there. Maybe. Seems like he was on drugs. He probably was on drugs. How was he having enough money to, like, live this lifestyle?
Later found him hiding in a set of
How?
bushes nearby. He was arrested and taken into custody.
How do stalkers have the time
Jackson
and money and
survived the
energy?
shooting
Like, this is
and was
insane.
sentenced to prison.
How do you care about someone that did something, like, kind of lame to you, like, last week or, like, a month ago? Like, you're usually like, that kind of sucks. Anyways, I got, like, other stuff to do. Like, how? What do you do? How are you living your life to the point where this is something that you even care about? Like, this lady went out with you for a month, and then she's like, all right, I'm done. And, like, you're just like, this is my entire life now, I'm bored. Oh, my God. It's like when people have a secret second family, I'm almost impressed. There are so many people that have a secret second family, it's scary. She shot twice, he got hit once. Okay, that's still crazy. I guess he was on drugs. How is he smiling in the mugshot? He's a demon.
But even that didn't stop him.
Oh, thank you so much, Ower, for the 200 bits. I remember in processing, it's probably not how we heal. I think I'm safe and I moved and I know where I am. That's good. I'm so sorry if you've had anything similar happen to you. You were in a safe environment and you were okay and everything is fine and you're an adult, and if you're starting to feel scared, you can just go like, hey, you're okay. It's all right. Think about all the nice things. Think about your nice, big, wonderful door that protects you. And think about all the nice food you're going to have tomorrow. And, like, think about all your nice, clean, well, if they're not clean, you should do laundry at some point. But think about your nice sheets that you're going to, like, get to sleep on. And think about your nice, cozy, wonderful bed. And you know what? It's so great that you're in a good, healthy, safe place right now. And you don't have to worry about any of that. Yay! That's good for PTSD. Maybe put on a blanket. There you go.
6 years later, in 2020, he was arrested again, this time for stalking another woman while on parole.
Okay, we might need to go back to whether or not, like, people should be released. You know why I think everyone's so passionate about this on, like, either side? It's because we've probably all had people that have been hurt or have been hurt, or have seen stories that have personally affected us from either side of people being released, and then doing some whack stuff like this dude. Or alternatively, on the other side, we've seen people that should be released and that we care about or we think are nice people that deserve a second chance and they haven't been offered that. So that's why we're so intense about these sides. We can all agree that we care about people and we want them to be happy and we want them to not be treated with a level of injustice that hurts them. Anyway, this guy is the devil. I do hope he dies.
For the earlier.
He needs psychiatric help? He needs to probably at this point die. Like, if you were terrorizing multiple women, breaking into their houses, saying that you're going to, like, assault them, saying that you're going to kill their, like, loved ones, that's not acceptable. Like, that's not okay. That's doing so much more damage to someone else just because you can't take the responsibility to get better and stay on psychiatric medication. I'm sure people have tried to put this dude on psychiatric medication. He just hasn't stayed on it. Anyway, they gotta commit him and study this. I think committing him and studying this would be probably interesting and probably helpful. But this guy should not be in society. This guy is not capable of taking care of himself well enough that he's not gonna go cause, like, crazy problems for people.
Attack. Investigators found that he had been sending threatening text
They should have shot him in the head, for real. I'm just letting you know, if anyone's like this with me, I will shoot you in the head. You will die. Like, there's no possibility. Like, if you threaten me to the degree that these people are being threatened, I will just shoot you, and it'll probably be either in the genitals or it'll be in the head. Like, I'm not really good at doing stuff where I'm not going to accidentally kill you. Like, I'm really bad about that in video games, and it's not better in, like, the real world. Alright. Anyways, I'm probably going to try to pepper spray you, and then I'm going to shoot randomly in a cloud of pepper spray while screaming. And you're going to get shot in the balls, both kneecaps, like, probably somewhere really bad, like, both shoulders. You're not going to have a good life. Don't do this. Don't do this to women. They're gonna... This guy going after another... And look! He didn't obsess over the first lady anymore. He was like, oh crap, I got shot. I don't want that to happen. He went and found another person that he felt like he had power over, because that's what he wanted. He wanted an extreme amount of power over someone and to make them feel scared. And once he was scared, he was like, alright, I'm out. What a psychopath.
Targeting her
What
family,
a psychopath.
her friends, and even her dog. He
What
was
a psycho.
charged with aggravated stalking and sentenced to 15 years in prison.
Good.
In 2023, a woman named Dacia Washington posted on TikTok claiming to be the same person who had shared her story on Reddit years earlier.
She looks very nice and very beautiful, and I'm really sorry about what happened to her.
She explained how what started as a short-lived relationship had turned into months of harassment, surveillance.
You are so beautiful. Why did you even talk to this man? You are so beautiful. Look at her. She's gorgeous. What happened? How did you date him for a month? Look at you. Look at you. Look at you. You look very sweet. Like you got a beautiful shirt on. Oh my god. Okay, sorry. Anyway. Alright, I just had to say that really fast. Okay, sorry, I'm just surprised she went out for a month with, like, I don't know, the meth devil. Like, for a month! She went out with the incarnation of meth itself for a month! Look at her! Okay. Alright, we're continuing, sorry. It's good we're wrapping it up after this, I need to calm down.
And threats. She spoke about filing report after report, moving homes, and finally deciding to arm herself when she realized the police couldn't protect her. In her video, she described the moment he broke through her door, the fear she felt, and how she made the choice to defend herself.
Yes, the man was the incarnation of
I've been unable to find the original TikToks on her profile, but she has a copy of the videos available on YouTube, so I'll leave a link to them in case you wanted to check it out. Back on Reddit, her post has since been removed, but recoverable through the Wayback Machine. When she asked for help, she wasn't looking for comfort or opinions. She was trying to survive. And though she lived to tell her story, her post remains as proof of just how real those fears were. Some posts are written by people living through things most of us can't even imagine, shouting into the darkness and crying out for help.
I'm glad
when
that she
no
got
one is listening.
I think we need better laws when it comes to stalking. Holy crap. Some women have certain types. I knew this one chick who was really into chubby or obese dudes. Like, there's nothing wrong with people that are chubby, that's just objectively better. But when it comes to, like, I don't know, this guy that looked like he was a demon and also addicted to meth, like, not just as a substance, but as a part of, like, his personality, like, that's not good. That's horrible. Like, I don't know. Anyways, you do meth for her? Okay, I think that's a good one to wrap up the stream. That's really funny, though. Okay, alright. Anyways, sounds like the police were ineffective. The police in this instance were ineffective. Some chubby dude have the confidence of, a Rizzaroni and scores like crazy. I mean, the thing is, okay, I'm not gonna argue with you guys, but you know who I am. I'm very obvious about who I am. Alright, we're moving on. Anyways. You could get a buzz off that guy's dandruff. Oh god. Police in this scenario were twiddling their damn thumbs. They didn't know what to do. We need better anti-stalking laws. I think we need law enforcement to be held accountable if, like, people get murdered after they report, like, stalkings and stuff like that. Like... Anyway, I don't know how that'll happen. We certainly discussed quite a few crazy different things today, huh? And we did play some amazing, Outer Worlds, too. I really like that game. Perhaps we will play more. Perhaps we will play it on YouTube. Perhaps we will do anything. Alright. She's a VTuber? Which one? The lady that got stalked? I'm gonna go ask her for a collab if that's the case. I'm gonna do it. Don't tempt me. I want to see how she's doing. Not just in that. I want to play like Mario Party with her. Jack, thank you for the 100 bits. Wrap the stream up in thick folds of plushy fatty goodness. Oh dear lord. Thank you guys so much for being here. I hope that you had a good night, and I hope that you have a good day tomorrow. I really appreciate when you guys come by, but I also really hope that you guys are taking care of yourself in your day-to-day life. So, what we're gonna do is... Let me see here. Okay, one sec. I think I'm probably gonna let Yama choose the raid target. But we are also... Wait, no, don't load games done quick. I'm just trying to click on stuff. Let's see. Okay, so... Oh, you know what? We haven't... I don't think we've raided Iron Mouse, like, not in a very long time. So... Let's do that. Let's do that. I'm afraid of talking to anyone, though. So we're gonna do that. We are gonna raid Iron Mouse. So everyone, please be friendly and nice. Thanks for the chill stream. I didn't want to get Outer Wild spoiled, so I tuned in after. No worries. I hope that you enjoy the game when you get it. I quite like it. I thought it was fun. That's pretty much all I can say. Thank you for being here, you guys. And I hope you guys have a good night. I hope you do, and I hope you have a nice one, even after the case. I hope you have a nice day. And I hope you have a nice couple of days in the future. And a nice couple of days after that. And a nice couple of days after that, and after that, and after that, and after that, and after that. Anyway. Grimmi is the hottest VTuber. I'm dressed like a Victorian nun. I look like a nun from the past. You have to find something in life a little bit more sexual in nature. I'm sorry. Good night. Sleep well. Sleep well, each and every one of you. Get some nice water in, get some nice rest in. And if you're in a different country where time is different, I guess be awake for a while. Whatever you need to do, baby. Whatever you need to do. I'ma head out. Okay, let's, but it was a lovely game. Lovely game, very well made. Seems like they really cared about the audience playing it. So everyone have a good night. Have a good night. Goodbye. Goodbye. Drink water. Drink water, you're probably dehydrated. Be nice to your pets. Go spend 15 minutes with your pets. You'll feel a lot better about life in general. Bye. Bye. Bye.